Hello my friends and welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Let's Play Part 135. Before I begin, please like, share, and subscribe, and consider leaving a comment also whether or not you already are a subscriber. Anything you do in those realms should be useful for helping get my videos out to more people, so even more people can do the same. Okay, so now I'll go into the solo mode gate now. And I am working on getting an affiliate link. They haven't gone back to me yet, TCG player. But I'll let you know how it goes there. Maybe I could even work on getting other affiliate links in the future. Now, the reason why these show up as clear is because I already did the recording once, but I messed it up by accident, and so now I'm just like trying to re-record it and not mess it up again. But I guess it's okay because now a few of the mistakes that I went through last time, like those can like be cleared up a little bit. So I'll spend about 10 minutes here with these two scenarios, and then after the scenarios I can go into the Forbidden Limited list, and I'll probably be done after I go through that. Anyway, here's the story. Ningirsu originally attempted to use the key in the machine body to control the Draconic World Legacies. This first part is just a recap from the last scenario, and thus tried to revive Ib's soul. However, this procedure failed. It instead awakened Lee, who took control of her body and spirit. As Ningirsu falls into despair, a miracle happens before his eyes. A shining blue dragon appears and fuses with Ib's remains. As a result, his sister, the person he cherished more than anyone else, has returned. Was he dreaming? Is this real? What has happened? As Ningirsu considers this, he feels something reach out to his soul. It was remains of a fading mind, belonging to the vessel made to house Ib's soul. It was the echo of the doll's final thoughts. It was nothing more than an artificial body. But perhaps through the power of its host, or because of the power of the key, the empty vessel grew a consciousness that was neither Ib or Lee. Who the conscious belonged to, or if it was similar to humans, the doll did not know. Oh, so now someone else had taken control of the doll? Huh. However, it still had a heart to care for its master. When the newly revived Lee attempted to erase the soul of Ib, the doll transferred Ib's soul to World Legacy World Chalice in the Forest of the Stars and sacrificed itself to save her. Ironically, this was the same method Lee used to deceive mankind. But Lee failed to notice as the purity of the doll's heart was indistinguishable from Ib's. Having heard this final echo, Ningirsu clutched a sash that had belonged to Ib, the doll in Galatea, and stirred with renewed determination. And this part is important because he's going to be making a reappearance in the next scenario. So we'll see how that is. Pretty cool sleeves right here. Here's a better look at them, and you can feel free to read the description if you like. And then here's the scenario appearance cards. World Gears of Theological Demiurgy, Crusadia Testament, Nightmare Incarnation Idli, Orcus Crescendo, Ningirsu the Orcus of the Evening Star, Deus Ex Crawler, World Legacy Collapse, and Mech Knight Crusadia Avamax. Okay. So now there's the cool art, and now the cutscene. At last, the great darkness, the avatar of divine power, had arrived. Woe gears of theological demiurgy. Facing such an overwhelming foe, Aram remembered a passage from the legend of the Star Heroes. To fend off the great darkness, Aram informs Ib and his Crusader allies of his plan of action. His plan was to inherit the key which Mech Knight Blue Sky had once attempted and failed. He aims to use that power to combine the gathered world legacies into a single entity. Assisted by Ib and his allies, he begins the unification. Upon realizing Aram's plan, the desperate nightmare incarnation Idli attempts to stop him. Imduk and the Crusader gave their all to defend Aram and Ib. However, Idli's attack was tremendous. Just then, a man with a sash clenched in his fist came forth to face the challenge. I told you it would make another appearance. It was Ningirsu. He gathered all the remaining parts from Babel and the Orcus and forged a colossal spear. And this is where the art for Orcus Crescendo comes in play. With it, he strikes Idli with a ferocious blow. Gathering up all his might, Ningirsu then forges his final and ultimate creation. A creation intended to protect the divine reincarnation of Ib. It was a colossus combining every Orcus and even the creator himself. Ningirsu, the Orcus of the Evening Star, had been born. And he has a guitar for a shield. Idli continued her rampage, still desperate for the divine powers. Ningirsu, now with the power of a machine god, did not hesitate while striking with his spear. Subjected to this fierce assault, Idli's body begins to fall apart, and even yet, Li's tainted spear was obsessed with attaining godhood. With her sanity long lost, Li used Deus Ex Crawler to forcefully bind her soul to the world legacy. In response to her tainted mind, Demiurgy loses all control. The overflowing power of the gods was enough to accelerate the destruction of the planet. Aram and Ib continues the key's accession, and their allies stand to defend the two. The planet's destruction looked inevitable, but not a single soul was about to give up. Each and every one stood firm to fight against the divine power. And at last the accession was complete. With the Ram having inherited the key, he wielded the power of every world legacy as a legendary world hero. Can you guess who that is? Mech Knight Crusader Avamax. Starlit Hero, your sword swathed in light, may you triumph over the great darkness. Okay, and then there's the story. So now I'm gonna be going into a little bit, in the next video, I'll be going into a little bit of an intermission, if you will, before continuing on with a few more scenarios for the main path. And then after that I can divert to the alternate paths. Okay, but for now, let's go and look at that Forbidden Limited list that they are about to implement. So first, I'll let you read everything about it, and then I'll explain a little bit. So here's the reading. So if you like, you can pause or go through and read this. But I'll be going through it myself. So it's talking about when it's going to be happening, the Forbidden Limited list, and how long you have to dismantle the cards for extra points. And I'll be going through the dismantling process myself, and as well as like sharing some tips on why you may want to dismantle. If you would like to hear about now, here's a little bit of a summary of it. Basically, there are a few good reasons to dismantle. If it's a card you've been wanting a higher rarity of, or if you just so happen to already have extra copies of it. So basically those are the two reasons. And then here's my thoughts on the Forbidden Limit list. Okay, so first of all, the cards to be limited are going to be Skill Drain, Rivalry of Warlords, and Ghost Match. I'm just grouping these all together because they're basically all floodgates meant to try to keep your opponent from doing something, or maybe putting certain monsters on the field in the case of Rivalry of Warlords and Ghost Match. First of all, Skill Drain is good in Eldritch decks and Runic decks, while Skill Drain Rivalry... Actually, I think Skill Drain Rivalry and Ghost Match are good in like Eldritch and Runics. While the latter two are a little bit easier to play with, since like they can be used in decks that also like don't care about like activating their effects. Although I guess they're like all good for their own reasons. Like maybe Skill Drain can also be used in that one water deck that like deals with like a bunch of normal monsters, which I forget the name, but someone can let me know if they know what they're talking about, what I'm talking about, that plays the field spell also. With like the level 4 normals, and like they have some like level 7 normals as well. I forget what it's called, but anyway, also I can just leave that in the description, probably what that water one was talking about was, and then so basically yeah, these are all floodgates that are meant to oppress the opponent in one way or another, and if they're all given a chance to all be face up, that is really oppressive. Like, or even if like multiple are face up, like that's still really oppressive. So it's probably good that like in a best of one that they're not like allowing to use as many, because you can't like really side into like a bunch of cards that are meant to like get rid of them. And then Herald of Orange Light, this was used with the Ishizu stuff, or the like the cards that were recently released, the Medora, the Keldo, etc. The ones that like either can mill from the top when they're sent to the graveyard, or shuffle back in cards from either player's graveyard back into the deck when it's sent to the graveyard. Those all can be kind of impressive. But like Herald is just like kind of crazy, because like it can like negate a monster effect, and I think it also destroys just like the Cyframe Gear Gamma. But unlike the Gamma, like you can like still control monsters. And so Herald was getting to a point where it was like a little too easy to maybe activate, because like you already want to like be running some good fairies with it anyway. There's Shizu, those is Shizu, the Keldo and stuff, like they're all fairies. And apparently a few of the branded like main deck cards like that are not a part of the Shizu lineup. They're still fairies, like the Alibus, stuff like that. So that's kind of dangerous. So yeah, it's probably better that it's like limited. The Florunderies and the Magnificent Map, I'm not sure how important this was. Like, they did have a couple of... They did have that one monster floodgate, but they did lose the Beta Statue of Stormwinds also. So someone... maybe, like, if anyone wants to, like, let me know their thoughts on those. I'm not sure exactly what I think. I know I've been playing Florunderies for a little bit, but I think, like, Beta Statue of Stormwinds was already a pretty big hit. Like, it's not bad, though, still. Like, you can still, like, force your opponent to have to, like, go into defense. Special summon defense, keep them from being able to attack, because the main guy also can like just like increase his attacks like real easily. the main floodgate monster. And then they had some pretty cool combos with the Rise also, like allowing you to like basically put himself back to the hand to keep looping it. But I'm not sure if like that was enough to really warrant like that being limited. Anyway, the cards to be semi-limited, a few runic cards. I think the runic tip is the one that matters more. Fountain, I think a lot of people are playing 2 already, but the tip like is pretty big because it can search for any card. And there was no reason not to play that at 3, like, because not only could it search for the fountain, another way to search for the fountain, but it could search for any of the other runic cards, and it's really good to like keep this in hand during the opponent's turn, because then you can like just search for like whatever is best for this situation that you're dealing with. Like if your opponent's playing a bunch of spells or traps, you can search for the one that destroys spell and traps. And if they're playing like a lot of special summon monsters, you can search for one of the ones that deals with special summon monsters. Or like maybe a negate effect if they're like running the Thornries. So that like hits their consistency a little bit. Also keeps them from being able to just have that in hand as often. And the neck face really it was more likely than not for the 60 card pile decks that were getting kind of crazy with the one card a part of the Shizu archetype. I forget which one it was, Kaldo, Mondora, I don't know. Someone can let me know. The one that like mills like could just mill this, like, and it's got like a bunch of other ways to mill, so like the mill was getting kind of ridiculous, and that coupled with the fact that you could also mill snow and then banish a bunch of like neck faces to like banish like a bunch of cards from each player's deck, that's getting kind of crazy. So it's probably good that's semi-limited to kind of draw back the power a little bit. And then a few cards that like are getting lifted a little bit or all the way off the list is Thunder Dragonhawk for the Thunder Dragon decks. That's probably fine. All of these like decks like weren't really tier 1, so it's probably fine for the most part. Although a few of these I kinda am worried about, like the Soul Eating Oviraptor. Like Dinosaur's actually kind of strong with the Miscellaneous Source, basically being able to protect all the dinosaur monsters from basically anything the opponent wants to do against it, as long as like it's directly interfering with the dinosaur monsters themselves. But like this would definitely to help like boost the sales of the selection pack. And then but I think all the others like should be fine. Like I don't know, I think Master Plan may be banned. I'm not exactly sure. Someone can let me know there. But I'm just saying that because Master Plan can be used with like Magician's Souls, and I know that was kind of a problem in the TCG. But it probably is banned because like I'm not really seeing it as a problem, and Magician's Souls is here, so I think it might be banned, but someone can let me know if it's not. Anyway, that's pretty much a list there. If anyone has their own thoughts or has any questions, I can like maybe give more details about my thoughts in the comments. If anyone wants to give their own thoughts, that's fine. Again, please like, share, and subscribe, and please leave a comment. It can basically be whatever you want. It can be replying to one of my comments or making one of your own. Anyway, that'll do it for today's video. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll be leaving the verse as well as the Bible verse discussion. I'll leave the verse in the description and the Bible verse discussion in a pinned comment, so it's easily accessible. And I'll also leave a few of the thank you notes in the description as well. And that'll do it for the video. I hope you